to have a little interview with them next weekend, if at all possible. Spencer Meredith out of Hernando, Mississippi, the number 59 car joining us tonight, will start tail of the B main. I don't believe was here with us last night, if I'm not mistaken. So new entry for us tonight here, the number 59, able to make it on night number 2, trying to take a shot at it from the back of the B main, which is pretty impressive. And get the job done. 27 car, Kurt Terrell out of Rosemark, Tennessee, trying to get pushed off, and she doesn't want to rotate. It's kind of skittering his way down the front straightaway there. Needed to turn over, so they have a little ignition switch in there. What happens is they need the car to turn over and crank some oil up through it before they flip the ignition switch and let it take sparks. So they need to build oil pressure. And that little side-by-side, I don't think has enough snort to get it moving fast enough to make that happen. So you're going to see the push truck down the infield says, hey, let me do that. You got to be up to speed here. So Ricochet will get a nudge from a bigger unit. Should fire off with this one behind it. So direct drive, I'm sure you're familiar with sprint cars, but if you're not, if you're tuned in on Flow Racing, not familiar with it, there's no transmission on these things. It's direct drive directly from the power plant to the rear end with a torque tube, as they call it, right between your legs. Whenever you sit in there, it just runs right underneath of you. Everything's coupled together. There's no wasted horsepower messing around with an automatic transmission or even a manual transmission. She just hooked up. When you punch the throttle, things happen. Good, bad, or ugly. Cranking out an impressive amount of horsepower, 360 cubic inches, and you're used to the 410s, maybe the 360s. Honestly, there's no difference between the two of them other than cubic inches. Pretty much the same internals you find in them, just more cubes on a 410. So the 360 is still running all the trick titanium stuff and aluminum this and that and everything other, and they're making plenty of horsepower. Well over 600. And that car just will not go. So at this point in time, it's more of a sled as opposed to a sprint car. Might have to bring her down into the infield where you can get a little bit of grip. We'll try him again in the second group. We're going to try to get him just down into the infield. He'll knock it. When I say out of gear, he just disengages the torque tube. So now it's just freewheel, and they'll get him down into the infield. He'll get her locked together again. They'll try to push him off from down there and see what happens in the second session. So here we go. Get them throttled up and cut loose. Hot lap session number 1 for your non-qualifiers in the USCS Outlaw Thunder 360s. And again, no transponders on them just yet. We'll have transponders hopefully on them later on tonight, but hand scoring taking place, a pill draw. There's no qualifying with this series. It's all based on a pill draw when you come in, and then you got to race your way out of the pill draw. And with passing points, a little different feeling whenever you pull the pill. Not looking for that number 1 necessarily. So we'll watch them on around. So far, everybody looking pretty much equally quick. And hang on to it. 21K car going on a bit of an adventure down at turn number 3 and 4. Wheels it back under control, and so far, so good for Kevin Hinkle. Got the old track juiced up. Again, looking for those 2 feature events for the USCS Sprint Cars tonight. The Flip-Flop 50. We got our first feature event. We'll finish that one off. Our second feature for them will come at the end of the night, and it'll be a complete inversion based on the finish of the first feature event. Not on the starting border, on the finish. So that'll be fun. Brandon Taylor kind of tossing that baby into the corner. He's not afraid to get after it. Feeling his oats. So he'll bring her onto the front straightaway. Caution flag coming out, though, on this one. And that'll do it for our first session. So checkered flag had already been displayed. Caution, and we'll try to push off the 27 car again to see how this works out for him. So she's dry down the infield. It might be okay. As the Ohio Hammers right next to him. Luke Hall out of Ludlow Falls, Ohio, the number 1 car. coming out here to get pushed off as well. Sour Mugs Tavern, T&W Collision, Simon Holt Racing. That's a new race car that they kind of got together, and he's running. So not a lot of laps on the number 1 car. They had some issues with it last night. But he is a 3-time Waynesfield non-wing champ behind the wheel of the number 1 car and former 360 King of the Quarter champ. Raced for a number of years, so get him throttled up here before too awful long. 14R car sitting down just inside the infield, or just outside the infield, I should say, out of Woodstock, Georgia. It's Sean Rahal and the Big Machine Store and Distillery Big Golf, sponsors of the 14R car. Out here racing with us, picked up the IRA Rookie of the Year honors this year, his first year running a full season in a sprint car. He dabbled around with it a little bit last year, hopped behind the wheel one this year, and went 410 racing with the IRA sprint cars up in Wisconsin, which is a very feisty bunch, if I do say so myself. But picked up the IRA Rookie of the Year honors in his first year out. And he'll be running, I believe, another season with them next year. See if he can take a shot at that championship. So he gets set to go on a big legend car race this weekend. You can follow along with him on the social medias as well. He's done a lot of cool stuff in his very storied career. The European Le Mans Series and the Petite Le Mans. Has run Delta Wings and just about everything else. So a lot of road racing experience, not a lot of dirt experience. Another racer to keep an eye on out here, the 9JR car, making his way down the front stretch. Derek Hagar out of Marion, Arkansas. One of the winningest racers in USCS history over its 24 years. Has won a ton of races with him. 49 car down in turn number 1 and 2. Mally Schuster out of Newville, Pennsylvania. The Frangola, Kinsler Fuel Injection, Hooker Harness, Zemco, number 49. Runs a little bit with the All-Star Circuit as champions on occasion. They did so more whenever they were up in Pennsylvania, kind of relocated down to Alabama now. They do a lot of stuff, a lot of very different businesses that they're associated with. But Mally Schuster out here, and his dad also racing with us, Dynamite Jim. We'll talk about him here in just a little bit. Number 29 car on the front stretch. It's Kyle Amerson out of Montgomery, Alabama. Moss Racing Engines, TSI, Matt Covington Motorsports, number 29, I think. Or it could be Jeff Oliver. Sorry, that's Jeff Oliver. That's 29-0. There's no O on the car. It threw me off. I'm used to 29 of Amerson. That's a 29-0 of Jeff Oliver. My apologies. So it's 29-0. I'm allowed a mistake every now and then. See him like a couple times a year. Pendergrass, Georgia is where he calls home. Country Barn Babe. Oh, I'm glad I said that. If you're looking to do some Christmas shopping, you need to check out Country Barn Babe online. They have a lot of cool stuff. If you're into that rustic look, they got it going on. Also, his sons, his 3 sons, were fans of the week or something like that not too awful long ago this spring, and they got some great little boys out there hauling around in the pits in the future of our racing as the caution comes out for 2 tangled up down at turn number 2. 28 car idles down the front stretch. Jeff Willingham, the Ripley Rooster out of Ripley, Mississippi. Kirkwood National Golf Club and Cottages, former USCS Rookie of the Year. '22S Slater Helt, Harrisonville, Missouri racer, and that's a good-looking race car down turn number 1 and 2. So Mally Schuster and Sean Rahal got tangled up down in the corner. Jeff Oliver, Country Barn Babe. If you missed me talking about that, check out Country Barn Babe online. If you like rustic, cool stuff, it seems to be all the rage right now. It's been the rage with me my entire life. I always liked that look, the old barnwood and different things like that. Check out Country Barn Babe online. You can order from them. They ship everywhere. So we'll get those cars pushed back into the pits, bring out another hot lap session, I believe, for the 360s. And then following our USCS 360 hot lap session for our non-qualifiers will be our late model hot lap session. And then the MSCA 305 sprint cars, which will take us into our opening ceremonies. So take a look at the front of the, not sure what's taking place there on Mally Schuster's car. So we'll bring out the Jeep. Apply some more torque to the back of it and see if that works out for us. Yep. So about 3 more laps for these cars remaining out on the racetrack. So we'll try to give them their full hot lap session. Plus, the track needs just a little bit of work here. Okie dokie, artichoke. Lights go down. We'll wind them back up again. Watching Derek Hagar, he's already tested the waters on the top side of the racetrack in the 9 Junior car. It could be one to watch here a little bit later on. So he is lickety-split all on the top side of the racetrack. Everybody else opting to stay down a little further towards the bottom. Oliver off the pace. He'll slow down the inside. Caution flag coming out. He'll kind of limping around. We'll call this a done deal. So not sure what happened there with Jeff. I do see some smoke wafting out the back of the 29-0 car. So that hot lap session is complete. We'll bring out another hot lap session. Looks like the first one coming up out of the gate is going to be Farmington, Missouri's Dustin Homan in the 10H car.